I'm Sophie.
And I'm Phaedra.
And this is my best view. Phaedra, what was your best view this week?
My best view this week was last night. It was my dad's birthday. And for it, we just went out for cocktails in Manhattan in Chinatown at a really good cocktail bar called Apothique. And we got surprisingly lit, or at least I did. And then we went and we ate dumplings with our friends. The engaged
I
couple.
had really bad FOMO from the picture.
Girl. It was a hoot and a holler. Me and Claudia I was a little drunky. And then that lady makes me laugh so hard. It was so funny because we got to the restaurant and we were laughing so hard. And then at one point, we finish eating and we get up to leave. The restaurant, mind you, silent, apparently.
Fabulous.
I thought it was like a raucous, is that a word? Like a raucous, lively.
I don't think raucous is
We're rolling with it. It was just like a raucous, lively restaurant. And everyone was cackling and just having such a good time. We stopped talking. Literally, you could hear a pin drop. And there's 5 other tables in there. And I was like, oh, no.
And, the way I've experienced that 100 times in my life, I know the feeling.
We were having the most fun in the whole room, though. So no regrets.
Nothing wrong with that.
Happy birthday to my dad. He's now 57. And he's the best dad in the whole world. So it's so lovely to be able to celebrate him. I'm so happy that we live in the same place because that wasn't always the case. And it's just a very special thing to be able to do, I think.
Yeah, I love that.
Also, really cute thing. My sister, unfortunately, is not in town, but her boyfriend came
Oh,
to my dad's birthday dinner. It was really cute.
that is really sweet.
Okay. And then, Sophie, what was your best view this week?
I really have to apologize in advance because my village views are not really giving.
Oh, you don't have an abundance of good views these days?
Pretty much the same old. But on Sunday, I went to a protest or demonstration for democracy in the neighboring, I don't even want to say city, but
Town. Gathering of homes.
And it was a little bit depressing in that it wasn't that many people there. But there were people gave really beautiful speeches and really were speaking to the situation in Germany right now. And it was just nice to be in a group of politically active people who are, speaking about what's happening. I think Germany is having a bit of a weird political movement, but it's being overshadowed by what's happening in a lot of other places. And so it's kind of nice to also hear Germans taking accountability for what's happening here instead of just talking about what's happening in the U.S., etc. So, I mean, it wasn't a happy view in a way because obviously it's depressing that we have to have these demonstrations, but it was just nice to see even in a smaller town, the solidarity. Absolutely.
And it's important. A best view, I think, is not just about a happy thing. It can be about an important thing too.
Yeah.
And democracy is real important. I think a lot of people have lost the plot on that, but it's actually so good.
We actually love it, so I know.
It's actually awesome.
Vibe shift.
The throuple, I hate them and love them so much. I'm so excited every time they come up on screen, though. I can't deny that part.
I have to tell you, I'm over them.
You're not feeling it?
I'm just we're done. Break up. It's not going to work out. It's only going to get worse from here. Don't bother me by being on my screen anymore. That's where I'm at, just to be transparent.
To be honest, I'm feeling that about a lot of people on this show.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm it's not I feel that about them more, but.
I think I said this episode 2 that I was I would not be watching if I weren't doing this podcast. And every episode I feel that more and more.
No, don't say that. I keep telling people to watch the show.
Well, watch the show, but also know that it is showcasing some of the worst of humanity. It really is.
Yeah, let's just get into it.
Let's get into it. We're still in Mexico with the throuple in Tijuana, and Matt and Minnie are approaching Ani at some outdoor market area. The first comment from a Minnie, all I see is a booty. Just objectifying 24/7.
Minnie is very male-coded.
I was going to say she's so male-coded. I know. Okay, I hate this term because I hate terms that put down women, but pick-me behavior, internalized patriarchy, and internalized male gaze. But it is awkward because I feel oftentimes when you see the way women who are lesbian or bi or whatever, that they're attracted to other women, that the way they interact with each other, it tends to be, again, generalization, so don't come for me.
Trigger warning, generalization coming.
Trigger warning. Could not be 100% accurate. It just tends to be a sort of a softer and more gentle way of approaching each other. Like, and the way a mini goes through, it's like very rough. It's like this very aggressive, hypersexual thing that it does feel, and it feels a bit weird when you look at her, and then the way she speaks, it like doesn't quite match up to what your expectations are.
Agreed.
So the three of them are all together now, and Ani says she feels bad that she was working the night before. It's just like, I don't know, I hate that has to say that.
I know.
And then like Amini basically brings up the information that Ani shared with her, aka that she's more into Amini than she is into Matt, and like basically says she told Matt about it and it kind of drove a wedge between them. She says in an interview that I thought this was interesting. She goes, "We, as in me and Ani, have to show him that he's an equal in this relationship." Like, it's just so interesting that like she takes her relationship with Ani as such a given, or like that they're such a unit, is interesting.
It's funny because she does the same thing with Matt, I feel. She'll often be like the duo within the trio that you always bring up. And I think that Minnie does it the most of anyone else. I mean, I've never seen Ani do it to either of them. It's always like the three of us.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just think she always wants to be in like the center of whatever's happening.
Yes.
It turns out that Minnie has planned a date for Matt and Ani, just the two of them, to bond.
And she like brings up, she's like, I know it sounds weird to set up a date for my husband and another woman. And I'm like, yes, of course that sounds bizarro freaky to me because I don't get it. But at the same time, I've met polyamorous people and I'm just thinking, I don't know, if you're going to do it, they tend to stand 10 toes down. It just gives me this vibe that she is not really someone who wants to be polyamorous, and she's like embarrassed about the fact that they're doing it a little bit. Regardless of what she like postures about, I do think that this doesn't feel 100% authentic, because I think authentically what she wants is two separate relationships, one with one with Ani, and she's not really into this polyamorous thing, but she's doing it because that's the only way she can do it without it being cheating in either of their eyes.
Completely. And she's also, on top of everything, is trying to layer this like cool, chill persona on top of everything, which she is not chill, but she is like, oh my gosh, a date for my husband and my girlfriend, LOL. And it's like, you know, she's sitting at home like resenting them both. She probably like set up a camera and was like watching them. I mean,
we're tracking their location the whole time.
Yeah. So she leaves and it's just Matt and Ani. And I have to say, the vibe is really awkward.
So awkward. They can't even figure out how to talk.
The vibe, aside from the fact that they're openly kind of sexual with each other, the vibe reminds me so much of when you're with a friend and her boyfriend, and then the friend like goes to the bathroom or something, and you're stuck with the boyfriend, and you're kind of like, hey, you know, like that to me was the energy here. Like I could not see a connection between these two directly.
And that was really interesting for me to see because I've really been trying to figure out what the dynamic of this relationship is, especially between Ani and Matt, because sometimes we've been given this vibe that potentially they have a better connection, and that does not seem to be the case.
This makes me think they were really drunk when they had sex, just the two of them.
Yes.
Because I can't imagine it happening if this is the vibe between the two of them. Like the one conversation, he's like, are you hungry? And she's like, very hungry. Like, that was the level of...
I agree.
So then Matt tells Ani that Amini told him about what Ani had said about not loving him as much and that it made him jealous. And I did think Ani's reaction here was interesting. She was, like, really surprised that he was jealous.
Yes.
And...
Because she didn't know they had that kind of connection, I think.
Yeah. I think she's like, I didn't know you were into me like that.
For real.
And... Matt says that he knows that Matt and Ani, don't have yet what the two women have going on. And Ani is like kind of taken aback by that, or she's like, no, it's not true.
Because she doesn't like either of them that much.
I know. She's like, none of us have anything.
She's like, no, I feel equally as mad about both of you guys. Don't worry.
And then she's talking about her relationship with Amini, and she says, she showed me many things, you know? And I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know what this means.
The full thing is she says, and guys, never ever want to make fun of someone's language proficiency level. Absolutely not. However, I need to read the full quote because it was genuinely confusing what the fuck she was trying to say. And again, I think the fact that Ani's English is not very good, and of course, Matt's Spanish is not either. He didn't even try to do anything. He didn't even say hola when she walks up. You know what I mean? Anyway.
I know. It really makes you question the depth of the relationship if they can't communicate.
This is Ani talking about Minnie. And she says, I think so. I love her. She's shown me many things, you know? I need feel you first. Talking to Matt here. I understand she's your wife, but you need show me. You need give me more reaction about me. What?
I don't know. I guess she's saying that, like, Minnie is more forthcoming with her feelings towards Ani, and maybe, like, Matt is not. And, like, she's needing to see more, like, in that way. But if someone told me those sentences, I would be like, I don't know what you're actually trying to communicate to me right now.
You're right. Because when she said she shows me many things, I thought it meant, like, I don't know, sexually, or like she shows me
like
parts of the world. Yeah, I was like, oh, like life hack, something, like, I don't know. But I see what you're saying. It's probably she's saying she shows her love for me. Matt, you don't. I need you to do that more for me. Okay, got it.
That's my interpretation, because also later she says in an interview with the camera that she needs to see their feelings for her and feel that she's not a doll.
Oh boy. Hey, Ani, the reason they can't do that is they do see you as an object, unfortunately. So, I mean, she's kind of right on the money, but unfortunately she's not going to be able to get that dream fulfilled.
And then somehow this transitions into them kissing.
Didn't love it.
This is one thing I hate in the relationship, is the way they substitute sex or, like, physicality for emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
She's like, I need to see how you feel about me. And he's like, okay, I'll kiss you. And it's like, well, that's not really exactly the same.
I think Ani, Matt, I think that Ani has actually distinctly only seen you do that. So.
Yeah, I don't know that you're helping.
Sorry, it's kind of like on Happy Valentine's, by the way. But it's kind of like on Valentine's Day when guys are like, I got you a gift. And it's like his dick. And you're like, okay, so not really. That's not quite it.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I haven't experienced that, but I'm definitely aware that that happens.
Me neither, for the record.
Let's go on record. Get me a Bible. Anyway, and then as they're kissing, they're like kind of joking about the rules. Like Ani's like, do you remember the rules? And then Matt's like, we never made a rule about this. And it's like, what's the point?
Well, first Matt goes, ugh, don't remind me. Which is like, ooh, shade to a Minnie.
I know. It's like literally only a Minnie wants the rules.
I know, it's a weird dynamic. They go walk on the beach, and Matt in an interview says that he feels optimistic about this. Like, and I'm like, okay,
yeah,
over what? Like, nothing changed. You didn't talk about anything.
Kissed.
Yeah, like what? Nothing is different. But then my final thoughts were just, how was that a date? They had a drink at the bar,
they ate a taco and kissed,
and kissed and walked on the beach for a little bit. What was this? Maybe 1 hour long. Honestly, this felt super fake. I mean, it felt very producer set up. I'm also like, what does a Minnie mean she set up a date? They went to a bar. That's not setting up a date. First of all, I was like, well, that's not really a date. What the heck was that? That felt kind of weird and fake. And then the next section felt super fake to me as well.
It was weird. Basically, Matt gets back to the hotel where Minnie's waiting for him, and she's like, how was the date? And he says it went in the right direction. And then Minnie wanted to know if Ani was mad that she told him what Minnie told her. Complicated. And Matt says she wasn't mad. And then Minnie is like, okay, well, I'm really relieved that Matt feels good about it, but I have a new concern. I'm like, why are we just, like, the speed with which we are resolving things and coming up with new things is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And the new concern is Ani's ex, Ray. And Minnie has Ray's number because she sends money to Ani through the joint account that Ani has with Ray.
So confusing.
So really, what's up with that? Because who has a joint account with their ex-boyfriend?
So the only thing I thought of that would make this make sense is probably it's an American bank account, and Ani can't. I mean, I'm just assuming all of that. I don't literally know if all this is true, but maybe Ani can't open one as someone who doesn't live in the U.S. So then when she was with his ex-boyfriend who is American, he opened up this bank account with her name on it and primarily his, and then maybe, like, just to be nice, let her keep it open and he doesn't take money out of it, but he lets her, like, move money through it.
That just seems complicated and, like, borderline illegal. There's so many ways to send money to different countries at this point. That's odd to me. Also, you know what? They go and visit her all the time. Why don't they just bring her cash? I mean, like, whatever.
I know, true.
Minnie reveals to Matt that she's been texting the ex-boyfriend, Ray, and wants to meet him. And this whole thing happens so quickly that
They were totally acting in this scene, and they're not good at it, either of them. Matt goes, Ray, like, Ani's ex? And I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, you already pissed me off when
covered that.
Yes, we already got the exposition, but it was just very clear. And then Amini's like, yeah, what is weird about that? Her acting was very stilted, and they were just so inauthentic.
I know. So then, like, they flash back. And also there is a reveal that Ray is Ani's most recent ex, and also he's American. Anyway, so they flash back to, like, all these various discussions they've had about Ray. But, like, it felt like it was just B-roll from this season.
Yeah, we've also, by the way, we've never heard of this guy.
No, and it felt like they maybe just filmed all the B-roll, like, the day before.
They just had them changing outfits. Yeah. We should have seen if her makeup look was the same.
They're, like, trying to legitimize Ray. They're like, remember him from these other clips you've never seen? Also, just the pacing on this was odd, because basically it's announced. So Amini's like, you know, she says she's always wondered why they have to send money through this man and not directly to Ani, which, like, okay, I kind of get that. But also I feel like you could ask and get the answer kind of easily. That's
why it felt so fake, is I was like, why wouldn't, if these people are like in a legit relationship and this is a legit conflict, they would just talk to each other about it. Like, what?
It's also like such a, like, not Occam's razor. It's like, what's the simplest route here? You know what I mean? It's like, let's fly this man out from whatever. Like,
yeah.
So it's then revealed. So Matt and Amini will be meeting Ray the next day. And Amini says she needs to meet him before she feels comfortable meeting Ani's family. And then it's really weird. Like, Amini is, like, seemingly leading the charge on this, but also feels bad about it. Like, she says, I have no choice but to do this behind her back and plead for forgiveness later.
Why?
Why are you doing this then? Like, why are you doing any of this?
But also, that's not true. Send her a text if she's working. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Also, it's like, do it in this order. Ask, hey, why do we have to send money through Ray? And then if her answer's sketchy, be like, to be honest, this answer doesn't make me feel good. Like, I need to know more. And then, like, you know what I mean? Like, but to just go, like, from 0 to 100, like, we're calling in Ray. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was so fake. I almost don't even want to analyze it because I'm like, well, it's not real.
It was just stupid. It was so stupid. This is what's crazy to me. It cuts to the next day. This show never cuts to the next day. They want to extend stuff as much as possible. So the fact that they did this cut was interesting to me. And so they're getting ready to meet Ray, and Matt says he's worried this will hurt Ani, and it tugs on his moral heartstrings, which I don't know he had any, but...
Also, I'm like, so funny to have moral heartstrings as opposed to just regular heartstrings. I've never heard that phrase.
I know. Well, at this point, Matt also says again that he's only agreeing to do this to protect his family. And, like, I will say, as much as I do hate the way they talk about this stuff, I do appreciate that Matt does recognize the seriousness of, like, getting a divorce to remarry this person.
Yes.
And to be honest, as producer interfered as this whole thing felt, that sentiment feels real from Matt.
I don't think that everything that they do is fake. I think especially Amini's meltdowns seem unfortunately extremely real. As we've seen in this section, she's a terrible actress, so...
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of the situations are fake, but, like, the emotions and the responses are real. But anyway.
Yes.
At this point, Amini also says she's nervous and she wants to know what Ray knows about them. They're so obsessed with wanting to know what everybody knows about them.
It's true. I was like, why? Why would you care? What an ex knows about you?
The ex, the neighbors. It's like, what does your doctor know about me? It's like, what? So they're at a restaurant waiting for him, and Ray pulls up, and I said, wow, he's not what I expected. And then they immediately after were like, that's not what we expected.
That's funny, because I think he is what I expected. For our listeners who aren't watching the show, Ray is not super attractive conventionally. Spoiler alert, but this was basically where it ended, was just him walking up. Like, we didn't even get to know him as a person. So I'm not going to, like, shit on him because he's not conventionally attractive. I don't care about that. But it was funny to me that Amini, and I suppose you as well, were surprised by how he looked. Because if anything, I mean, I'm making a lot of assumptions here. I think I'm assuming that Ani, she wants to get financial benefit out of her relationships in addition to companionship. And I don't judge her for that. I mean, she is in a pretty bad situation in her life in general, like financially it seems. And I would just never judge a woman in that situation for needing that in a romantic partner. That said, a lot of men who are interested in that situation are not very attractive conventionally. So actually this made a lot of sense to me.
That's so true. I guess I wasn't thinking about it as like a classic like sugar daddy situation. That's it, though. I mean, that's it. This was honestly a lame episode with them.
I know, but do not fret, audience, because there's some good stuff after this, so stick around, especially we're about to get into Shekinah and Sarper.
So can I just say, first of all, what's happening here?
No one knows. The goofiness continues. Fortunately or unfortunately, I felt like this episode was more fun with them. I will say on screen it says 62 days to wed. I think that they're the couple least timeline progressed of anyone else. They've been here less than 1 month and they're already having such strife and they've already done so much. It's kind of impressive. Let's get into it. To me, this looks like directly after the last episode where he was out at the park getting interviewed and talking about that they're having this fight, and then she was at home like packing up her esthetician setup, talking about her perspective on the fight. It looks like, I think they're wearing the same outfits. And so Sarper comes into the house where Shekinah is to talk. So Sarper in an interview says that he's so nervous to talk to Shekinah because he doesn't have a fucking clue how she will react to him. And he says, quote, "This relationship deserves better. It doesn't mean that it deserves marriage or something, but we cannot keep living this way, you know?" You know, I suppose that's true. Feels a little bit late to be saying that when you're already in the US on the K-1 visa, though. To be like, I don't know if we'll get married.
I am surprised with so many of these timelines, how many open questions there still are.
Yes. And with them, it's like about if they even want to get married at all, like at the baseline.
Which we'll see later. I mean, spoiler, but Shekinah basically reveals she never wanted to get married. I think that, no. I think it informs the whole thing is that they're probably both people who really value their independence, and like this is a bureaucratic step that needs to be taken.
That's fair. So maybe for a couple like this saying, well, we don't necessarily have to get married, maybe that's not like an emotional statement, as you said, because it seems like they want to be together. It's just like for bureaucracy wise, because they're an international couple, this is something they have to do. But yeah, I guess that could be a less harsh comment for this couple specifically than in general it would be. So back in the moment, Sarper says to Shekinah, quote, "I still believe we are 1 in a million. That match, that swiped right is 1 in a million. And it brought us here." It was like weirdly romantic, but then when he's brought up like the thing about like basically Tinder or whatever app it was, like that was so funny to me. But I think that this is romantic for this couple.
I think so too.
And it's, I mean, I don't know, it's sweet. He really, I think, values their relationship. I think he just doesn't always express it the right way, but I do think that there is love there.
I agree.
And he continues saying that the problem is that right now and I think he means the thing that is causing this fight is that right now he feels very weak because he can't work and he doesn't feel 100% himself. He calls himself just a dog sitter. And I do totally understand that. The one thing is, it's been less than a month. It's basically like a 4-week vacation, or like 3.5-week vacation so far. So I'm surprised that he's feeling so emotionally affected by not being able to work for that long.
Actually, again, I kind of can relate to this, and I think it's probably less because of the existing time and more because of the unknown of how much longer it will be like this.
That's a good point. Like, oh yeah, right now it's only been a month, but this could go on for a year. True. And Shekinah says, quote, "But you do realize it's not me making that rule?" And Sarper says yes. And she continues, quote, "Then why am I the one being punished?" Which that also does feel fair. Because it's also, Sarper, you knew this before. It's not like, I mean, okay, Shekinah did pull the rug out from under you with the whole, you can't be in the home during the day. So like if he brought up that, I would totally understand that. But the thing he's brought up, Shekinah rightly points out that like it's not her fault. So why is he taking it out on her? And sorry, side note, I just realized at this point in the conversation that Sarper is wearing a sleeveless gray hoodie that is open to just above his nipples, like at the chest area, and just obsessed with that. It's so funny to be wearing that in this really serious moment.
And she's wearing like a denim tube top. I mean, they're always just wearing something that is so interesting.
It's just amazing. I love their presence. And anyway, back into the argument. Shekinah tells Sarper that he's been acting like an asshole, and he says, quote, "You don't like me anymore. Are you aware of this?" And I'm just like, wow, okay. I really see how quickly these fights escalate. Like,
I know.
That's great. I'm going to use that on my husband next time we have a disagreement. Just like, oh, why did you not take out the trash when I asked you, John? I'm going to say, you don't like me anymore.
Are you aware of this? I love that too.
Like, it's just Just wondering. I thought she was going to fly off the handle, but honestly, she had a good response. She said, I don't like the Sarper that you've been showing me lately. And he's like, what is a lately shown Sarper? And Shekinah says, distant, cold, rude, dismissive. And then Sarper is like, I was in depression, fucking depression. Just the way he says it, it's so dramatic. I love it.
I love it.
And Shekinah asks, because of what? And Sarper says it's because they came to the U.S. They've been doing so many things, meeting her family members. And Shekinah's like, all of that put you in a depression? You've been loving L.A. And I'm just like, number one, we knew it. We knew he loved L.A. We knew he would, and we knew he is loving it. And I'm happy to have that validated. This
to me really does have tinges of Juan and Jessica, where he's like, I'm depressed. And she's like, no, you're not. We've been seeing our family. You know what I mean? Like,
that's true. Like, you can be very busy and also depressed.
I think in both of these relationships, like, I completely understand where the women are coming from, that, like, this was always the plan. The men signed up for this. Like, it's annoying to now be like, what? I can't work. Like, but I feel like there's a similar level of dismissiveness about the fact that, like, it actually is a huge downgrade to be in a different country, away from your friends and family and everything that you know, and not be able to work and not be able to feel like yourself. But, like,
yeah,
I'm not getting a lot of sympathy for that. And I know, like, Shekinah is basically saying, like, what do you want me to do? It's not my fault. And it's like, I agree it's not your fault, but also, like, I still think she could probably offer a little more sympathy.
Yeah. Basically, Shekinah then is like, I don't understand why all of a sudden you think I'm hard to live with. And Sarper tells her that he can't recognize Shekinah. She's not the same girl he met in Turkey. I hate when men use this line. I feel like I see this so much in people's fights. What is that they love to throw that at people, at women?
I know.
I think that shitty men don't like when women can't give them their undivided attention. So when women are not on vacation, when they're back in their real life and they have responsibilities and friends to see, other things that they want to do, hobbies to do, the men are like, what? You're not just with me all the time? And they like feel like that's a slight at them, when it's just you're seeing a woman living the life that she was already living without you. Nothing is different.
I think it also has to do with the fact that the women are on vacation when they're meeting. And I don't even know if I'm interpreting it as like a, you know, you can't spend all your time with me, but also just like vacation, you're chill, you're having a good time, you're not worried about stuff. Like, of course you're a more fun, like, loosened up version of yourself on vacation.
Anyway, Shekinah says that he's being dramatic. Sarper in an interview says that when they first met in Turkey, Shekinah was obsessed with him. Now she's using a sharp tone with him that she barely used in Turkey. He feels like everything changed when they came to the U.S. So Shekinah says now that the way that Sarper has been treating her the past few days is the reason she's acting like this. And she says she doesn't even know if she wants to get married now. And Sarper is like, what?
He's gagged.
He has the stinkiest expression on his face. Like, he's like, what? That'll definitely be a screenshot on the Instagram, My Best View Pod. And Sarper says, if we break up, you will cry for years for me. He's like putting a curse on her. And Shekinah is just like, I'm not some helpless woman who can't survive without you. Like, what are you talking about? And Sarper has this interview that gets cut in here, and he says, quote, the thing that keeps us together is the connection between us. Maybe we are so different as personality, but she is my soulmate. Like a puzzle piece, we are completing each other. Look, I feel really grateful that I never met a guy like Sarper when I was single, because it is shocking to me how quickly this was winning me over.
I know.
I was like, you're so right. When his actions are showing something completely opposite. It's so funny. I feel like men in real life, they give me like one orange flag and I'm like, fuck you, I'm out of here. But Sarper, I'm like, he has a really good point. I think he's actually a sweetie pie.
I'm like, he said something so nice about the puzzle piece, about the one in a million Tinder swipe.
And literally, I'm like, that's actually so romantic. What is wrong with me when it comes to just Sarper? I'm telling you, it's a Sarper plasmosis. Back in the moment, the argument is just kind of like spiraling into like no one's really having good points. Everyone's just getting mad. And basically she kind of is like, well, if you don't really have anything to say, like, why are we even here talking? And Sarper says he doesn't know what to say. And she kind of just escalates again. And she says, well, I guess that tells me everything I need to know. The man I'm with doesn't know what I need to hear. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know how to behave. He doesn't know how to treat me right. He doesn't know how to listen to me. So that's all I need to know.
This was a very ineffective fight. This was just shouting over each other.
From both sides.
Yeah, from both sides.
I don't mean to pick on Shekinah. It truly, no one was listening to the other. And then they're just each time like escalating and making it super dramatic. And for TV, it was really entertaining. But objectively for their relationship, I was like, guys,
what's the point of this?
Excluding situations of abuse, etc. If you love each other, a lot of the time fights, you have to keep in mind that the goal is resolution. And sometimes, yes, that means like digging out the gunk and talking about like old wounds or something that you really is like uncomfortable. Of course, like it's good to confront those things head on. But you also have to keep in mind, even in that situation, what is the goal of the conversation? Is the goal to win, to be right over the other person, or is it to resolve and like heal the relationship? You can't always have the most productive fight, but I just don't get the vibe that they ever have a productive fight. So it's stressing me out.
Yeah, it really is not effective.
Yeah. And then Sarper says, people can argue, people can fight, no problem, but you're so bad at fixing it. You have no compromising skills. And then she kind of is like, why do I need to fix this? What did I do wrong? It's not really about that, in my opinion.
It's also, I think, recognizing, yes, it's not her fault that he has to get a green card, but he did move to her country for her. And just to not acknowledge that, your role in that. I mean, again, it's not like it's your fault, but to be like, I want to appreciate that he did this, so that I could be near my daughter, which is fundamentally like the reason. I don't know. I think she's not recognizing like the sacrifice, which is kind of a bummer. I will say in general, this is just like a word of caution. If you are going to move to your partner's home country for them, that is a situation that has to be approached so thoughtfully and so delicately. Because if you're moving to your partner's country, and like I see this so often, and all you have is your partner, you have no connection, you don't speak the language, you don't have a connection to the culture, you don't know anyone else there.
You have no job prospects.
That can get so bad so fast. I'm just seeing a lot of that in this show, and I'm like feeling really bad for everyone involved because it's just a tough dynamic. We both met our partners in their home countries when we voluntarily moved there on our own. So we didn't have the feeling of I moved here for you. And even still, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to live in a different country.
Yeah.
And so the added layer of I did this for you, I just think it's crazy to ignore that.
Agreed. Like, talk about a recipe for resentment. That must be really tough.
Yeah, if you're not handling it well, it's just a tough situation.
So Sarper at one point says that he's missing the freedom that he had in Turkey. And he says it's not about the freedom with girls, which was an interesting comment because she kind of talks over him and they didn't latch onto that. But I was like, well, okay, what's that about? And she kind of talks over him and says, Sarper, you have so much freedom here. You leave for hours. I don't even know where you go. And I'm like, okay, number one, he doesn't have freedom. He can't drive. He can't work. He doesn't know anyone here except for you and Dan, who hates him. And then also, he goes somewhere because you kick him out of the house because you have clients there. Why are you saying it as if he abandons you during the day to go have fun and fuck off?
So unfair. I know, that was
ridiculous.
So unfair.
I really think that shows, like, I think what you're pointing out about Shekinah, like, you're not even doing the bare minimum to understand the situation he's in and, like, show empathy for it. Why are you acting as if he's doing stuff to you? Sarper in an interview says that when Shekinah came to Turkey, his home was more hers than it was his, and his family treated her like their daughter. That's why she doesn't understand what he's going through right now. He says that he sacrificed all the things to be in the U.S. with her, and when she's mad and upset, she only thinks about herself, and she doesn't see any of, like, his situation for what it really is. And I think that's absolutely accurate. And in the moment, Sarper says he doesn't want to lose this relationship because, again, this is 1 in a million, and I won't catch it anymore. If I break up with you, I don't want any relationship from now on because it's so difficult. I mean, it's like an examination every day. And then whatever, it's just like devolving.
Totally
into,
devolves.
Yeah. Totally devolves. And she kind of is like, why are you even in this relationship if you're so miserable? And he's like, it's because I love you. And Shekinah says I'm just sitting here thinking I could find a relationship better than this. And Sarper goes, what? And Shekinah says, like, I could find someone who I'm more compatible with than this. Sarper goes, you can't find. Shekinah says, what are you, some perfect man? What? Sarper, I am a perfect match for you. Physically, I'm your type. You love bad boys and I'm a bad boy. Shekinah says, no, I love masculine men. Sarper, I am a masculine man. Shekinah, I love a real man. Like, okay, what does this even mean? One of the best quotes. Sarper, perfect chemistry, sex chemistry between us. What do you want? And she kind of says that she just wants to be treated well, even when he's not having a good day. And Sarper's like, I'm just human. What? And she kind of says she's trying to make Sarper understand that even though the fight wasn't about her, she suffered. Do you understand that? And then Sarper just takes a left turn. That's also downhill. And he goes, like, as soon as she says this, he goes, you are rude to me. That is our problem. Like a light bulb went off. And then she kind of is like, I'm not, like, she's basically is like, I'm not going to keep having this conversation. It's going nowhere. And it's bad for my mental health. And Sarper just yells, I hate this, like, to the room. And then she kind of to the camera says that she never wanted to get married, as we mentioned up top. But then she met Sarper, and they basically have to get married to stay together. But she feels foolish, and she could have just stuck to what she originally wanted, which was to never get married.
This whole conversation just achieved absolutely nothing.
It was the least productive fight I've ever seen. But I loved being a part of it. I loved being led into it.
Same.
Because last time, you know, there was this fight off screen that sounded real juicy, and we didn't get a single bit of. But I loved... I didn't love that mom and dad were fighting, but I loved the theatrics of it all. I did.
That's true. I can get behind that too. They know how to put on a good show.
They do. And we thank them for their service, but I do worry about the health of their relationship.
Yeah. It's not looking too good.
It's not. I'm really hoping we can resolve and we can get back to the silly, goofy Shekinah and Sarper, because I need to see what kind of wedding they would have. I need to see their wedding outfits.
Seriously, same. I think we can get back there, but I think we'll have like 6 more cycles before the end of the season.
Oh my God, do you think maybe they're going to be the kind of couple where like they flame out and then they're on another spinoff where they get back together and then they do the K1 again? Like, I could totally see them doing that.
I could see it.
I think they get married though because he's touring in the U.S.
I know, I think so too. Thanks for the spoiler, Georgia.
Yeah, come on. I mean, look at them; they're made for each other. I could have guessed that.
And I think they low key love the toxicity.
That's what I'm saying. Is yes to us, we're like, this is toxic, but they like it.
They're gonna have like crazy makeup sex probably.
I was just gonna say after this they fucked like an insane amount. If they are in a better mood in the next episode, it's because they had crazy angry sex, and then they love that,
and we love it for them. Okay, so we're back with Greg and Joan. These two are washing Lucille's 2 little dogs, which honestly is such a stretch for Joan. I'm like, that's so nice that you're doing that.
I know, she's come a long way with them.
And then Greg makes some like weird joke about like that she's bad at washing dogs and like also bad at giving massages. And I'm like,
Greg, count your blessings.
Do not be criticizing this angel of a woman. And then in an interview as a couple, Greg says that the dogs are getting more action than he is.
That was weird. Don't sexualize your animals. She's not jorking its peener, I hope, while she's washing it.
She's just like scrubbing its fur.
In general, like, I just don't like when men especially make jokes like this, because it's like the way it's phrased is as if like I'm not being given this favor, when, you know, like sex, it should be something that the two of you are doing together. You're enjoying it. Why?
I know, I hate that language. And also I'm like, Greg, if you want to be having more sex, why don't you create an environment where your fiance feels like safe and comfortable and happy? Like, she's living in your mom's freaky house with like thin walls and like she's like stressed about your future all the time.
With Lucille's ear up against the wall too. Like, are they making noises?
Supersonic hearing. No, and like, you know, she's stressed every day about like if you guys have a future and like how you'll put food on the table. Like, sorry, that's not a super like sexy environment.
Yeah, give her a break.
So then Lucille comes outside and tells Greg that his phone has been ringing, and this felt pretty staged, but whatever. He like runs inside and like, it's just a small thing, but like there's something about him that he's just so kind of like sloppy, and like his like shorts are falling off as he's running, you know?
Are they
and I'm just
really?
like, yeah. And so then it's like clear that the phone call is about the job. And Greg's like, oh yes, the state position. Yes. Like, whatever.
They must have called him off camera, and then the producers are like, wait, we need it on camera. Pretend you're getting the phone call.
I know. And so then Greg comes back and he's like all kind of giggly, and he's like, how are the dogs? Like he's clearly happy.
Yeah.
So then Greg's like, I got the fucking job, baby. And honestly, thank God.
I'm surprised because he did not have a good vibe after the interview, but I'm proud of him.
And so Joan is, of course, really happy. And she says she's been praying every night and she can't wait to save up for their own space.
Aww. She's really like goal oriented. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that about her. She's like, great, next thing. But that's real. That's how you get shit done.
I know. So then they go to Manhattan to celebrate. And like already Greg is pissing me off. He says, quote, should I be spending money? No. Should I be saving for a house? Yes. But you know what, man? It's New York fucking City.
You know what, though? He's kind of real for that. That's me.
He is.
That's also you in like 2 weeks coming to New York. But I know in his context, I'm like, Greg, but when I do it, it's fine.
Everything is okay when we do it. We love double standards.
I also feel like that quote was pretty iconic. That has to be a screenshot. I feel like a lot of people can relate to that.
I agree. So then he basically says like he wants to celebrate getting a job, but also that Joan's not leaving him, which also real.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
I missed that. That's really funny. You know what, Greg? I'm really happy. Like, now that things seem like they're in a better place, I really do like Greg. So I want him to be able to get his shit together so that I can genuinely enjoy him, because I think he's a good guy. I think he's funny. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to be able to like be laughing with him and not like cringing at him anymore, so far at least.
I agree. Also, he hasn't shown us any side of him that's like actually malicious. It's been like annoying or immature or not taking accountability, but it like nothing where we're like, oh my God, you're a bad person. So like he can redeem himself.
Totally. I mean, dude, if we're giving Sarper this many passes, we can definitely give Greg a pass. Like, for sure. Greg is less malicious than Sarper, too.
So they drive to New York City, and Greg tells Joan that the car is going to turn to a submarine to cross the river. And like, why does she low-key believe it for a second?
That's me. That's me. I'm really gullible, too. She was like, wait, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, really? And he's like, girl, what?
He's like, no, I wasn't serious. Okay. Greg said something which was funny to me when he said it and became funnier once I watched the rest of this segment. He said, just because we live in Long Island doesn't mean we can't come out here, enjoy a night, go to a fine restaurant, or enjoy a good slice of pizza. And I'm like, so going to a fine restaurant and enjoying a slice of pizza are very different. And ultimately, they go with a slice of pizza route, which, look, I agree. That was the better choice for their budget. But I'm just dying. Don't add stuff in that you could be doing. Like, yeah, I might take her to a nice restaurant or get a pizza. It's like, well, if you're going to get the pizza, just say, we're going to get pizza. You know, we don't need to bring the fine restaurant into it.
And if anything, I'm relieved that you're, as you said, eating within your budget. Like, yeah, that's great. Good.
So they like go to Times Square.
Oof, barf, barf, barf. Why now? But I get it, because Joan actually was really like amazed by the tall buildings. She says there's nothing this tall in Uganda, and the lights were like amazing. So for me, I'm like, oh, ew, 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 Times Square. It's like literally like a cesspit of disgusting vibes. I hate it there.
But it's iconic. So Joan says something that, again, cracks me up. And she doesn't mean to be funny, but she says like she's had pizza in Uganda, but the pizza in New York is so much better than the pizza in Uganda. And I'm just like, yeah.
Probably.
And I bet the Ugandan food is better in Uganda.
Dude, I have to say something really controversial. I'm not from New York. I have not lived here long. I'm a total transplant. And I'm going to get beat up by New Yorkers for saying this, but I don't think the pizza is very good.
That's a bold statement.
And like, I'd love nothing more than to be proven wrong, honestly. Because if I get proven wrong, oh, what? So I get to eat delicious pizza? That's awesome for me. So if anyone would like to take me around to like the pizza places in New York that like they really recommend, like honestly, I challenge you to it. It sounds like a great day for both of us.
What's your ideal pizza?
I do prefer like a Napoleon style. I know. So it's definitely not New York style.
Neapolitan.
No, that's the ice cream.
I don't think it's Napoleon.
Yeah, because it's from Naples.
No, it's Neapolitan though. Napoleon is a person. Neapolitan is the adjective of from Naples.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
I just want to give you the opportunity. And I'm sorry that this whole podcast is just me like micromanaging you and being like, that's not the word.
It's not. It's you saving me from people in the comments going, you dumb bitch.
Napoleon pizza.
Sorry, I've got my pizza. I like my pizza with a Napoleon complex. Sue me.
Just so tiny.
Wait, bitch, I've been going around calling it Napoleon pizza my whole life.
Well, that's why you have me.
Napoli pizza. Can I say that?
Yeah. Pizza di Napoli. See, to me, in Germany, when you order food from an app, they have the categories of food. They have Italian pizza and American pizza, and they're two different categories.
That's tea. Maybe I just don't really like American pizza.
And that's fine. But I feel like for American pizza, I do think New York pizza is good.
I'm going to get canceled because I actually like Round Table Pizza from California.
Dude, I actually love Round Table Pizza. What's the one with all the toppings? The King Arthur Supreme.
Oh!
I like that one a lot.
I fuck with the King Arthur Supreme. Look, California heads, like...
We're frothing at the mouth.
Okay, thank you so much, because I've said that to people from California. I think that Round Table is just in California. But I've said that, and they're like, you like Round Table? It's not even in that kind. And then they'll say some stupid nonsense. They're like, what about Pizza My Heart? It's way better. I'm like, get out of my face.
No, I'm not a Pizza My Heart girl.
I'm Pizza My Ass. This tastes like shit.
And you said it.
And now that I've offended everyone with my pizza opinions and gotten terms wrong, I clearly don't know what I'm talking about, but they like the pizza. Joan likes the pizza.
And so at this point, you know, she's loving the pizza, and he says, let's go back to the hotel. Let's continue to rock your world.
Okay, Greg.
And it's just so gross to me. He goes, I got this Manhattan hotel room. I'm really going to score tonight.
Again, I just don't like this. And this is not Greg specific. This is like about our culture in general. But I don't like this phrasing of like, I'm going to get something tonight.
I know, the transactional nature. You're doing it together. But even then, like, adding to the transaction. And like, okay, I get that Joan wants to have sex more because she feels like probably relaxed, because she feels like, okay, finally I can like exhale on the topic of like, will we have money? But I also do hate the whole thing of like sex as a reward. Like, I got a job, so I'm gonna like, there's a lot there that I don't like. And then on top of it, we just don't like the PDA. We don't like the talking about it.
That's a private time thing. You have to keep people guessing about if you guys even do it. To me, that's the most romantic thing. Be so asexual in public that people are like, I can't even imagine it.
I completely agree. You know, the other day someone thought my husband was my gay coworker. And I'm like, that's... Other straight couples, like, take note. That's what you should be aspiring to.
Totally agree. At
this point, they go back to the hotel. I gotta do research and find out which hotel it is. It doesn't even matter, but I just need to know.
We gotta stay there. Girl, when you're here, we recreate the romantic night. We go get this like pizza.
Do I have money? No. Should I be saving? Yes. But it's a New York fucking city, baby. I'm gonna say that before every transaction when I'm in New York. People are gonna be like, what is happening? So Greg asked Joan to like stay, I guess, in the lobby or something while he sets something up in the room. Mm-hmm. And he again tells the camera he's excited to be intimate without his mom and the dogs. Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
We get that you're about to have sex.
We didn't even need you to tell us. Like, we understand why you would be excited to not. Even if no sex was being had, we understand why you're just excited to be out of your mom's house.
I know. And at this point, Greg brings out the items he's brought with him, which are fake rose petals, candles, and champagne. And he says, quote, I want to be a more romantic person. And then he also says that he's just going with what he's seen in movies. Joan seems excited about it.
It was sweet.
And, you know, it was definitely like done with love. And Greg says to Joan that he just like never wants her to think about going to Uganda except on vacation. Mm-hmm. And I think he's just really relieved that he, you know, met the one prerequisite she had for getting married.
And boy, do we wish maybe the standards were higher. But if they're happy, they're happy. You know, I don't think that's for us to judge. And it's sweet. I like seeing them getting along so well.
But then this kind of made me a little bit sad. Joan said she appreciates everything Greg does and she sees that he's trying. And then she's like, I know I overpush you. And like she starts apologizing. And she's like, I don't want to be this strict girlfriend, fiancé, but all I do is for the betterment of our future. And I'm like, yeah, you like pushed him to get a job. Like, I don't think you need to apologize. You weren't mean.
No, you weren't.
It also wasn't like a crazy ultimatum. I mean, she's like, if you don't get a job, we'll live with your mom forever. I will not marry you to live with your mom forever and not have any money to secure our future. Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels like, you know, there's a distinction between like a punishment and a consequence. Mm-hmm. Like all of Joan's behavior felt like, okay, it's just a consequence. Like if you can't afford to support her, then how are you going to like build the family that you've promised that was based on a promise to support her?
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like a crazy escalation. Like, I don't know. But
she's not like, oh, if you don't get a job, I'm going to like shoot you in the head.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I don't think she needs to apologize, but whatever. But in this moment, Joan and Greg seem genuinely happy. And they like kiss on the bed. Joan goes to put on something romantic. And then Greg like shoos the camera out of the room. We get it. They're gonna fuck. We get it.
I'm happy for them, honestly. I was glad the sex jokes, they were a bit much, but it wasn't too like graphic. And Greg, I'd like you to work on the way you phrase some things about what sex is. It's not transactional. Maybe you need to work on your actual mindset on that. But if they're happy, I'm happy for them.
Same.
And I don't need to be a part of their bedroom situation. I'll excuse myself from it beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay, Juan and Jessica. So they're driving with David to Fort Collins, Colorado to look at a wedding venue. In an interview, Jessica says that she booked the venue 6 months ago, which was very smart. I like her planning ahead. She's on top of it.
The only one, seemingly.
The only one. So basically they're doing a tour now because Juan is finally here. So obviously like he wants to see the venue before actually getting married. And they arrive. Juan says everything is dead. And Jessica's like, yeah, welcome to winter. All of the trees are dead. Jessica does, I believe, mention that originally she booked it for an earlier date. And I remember at the beginning of the season, they had mentioned that Juan got approved for his K1 visa later than they expected. So they didn't expect him to come in winter. But it is what it is. This is a really small moment, but the wedding venue manager is taking them around and shows them a fire pit that would be kept on all night for them because it will be so cold. And she says, quote, so you can make s'mores.
We cannot escape s'mores.
S'mores is this like a part of every season? It keeps coming up. It's so funny. This is the third or fourth time this season.
This is sponsored by s'mores.
Big s'more. And Juan says that he's never had a s'more, which does make sense. As we covered, s'mores are very American, and I'm very patriotic about s'mores, to be honest. They're great. It's just so funny how this keeps coming up with every couple, but I like it.
I know.
It's like take a shot every time a s'more gets mentioned. And the guide shows them the ceremony area. It's outdoor at like basically a pagoda with like seating in front of it. And honestly, it was really pretty. I liked it. It's a little tough in the middle of winter outdoors.
That stressed me out. Also, there was one thing Jessica said, which like I don't like. It's this one really common feature of American wedding culture. And I guarantee there is an enormous overlap in the Venn diagram of people who engage with this type of humor and people who have word decor in their home. And this is Jessica making a joke about the wedding and being like, it's Jessica's special day featuring Juan.
God, I hate that. People like, sometimes like wedding people that I worked with who are honestly wonderful, but like sometimes they would say little things, they'd be like, well, it's your day. And I was like, it's our day. I don't like that.
I know. I really think it's so weird. It's just a small thing, but it's like this one subset of like, you can buy the acrylic signs on Etsy that say like, Jessica's wedding featuring one. I'm just like, that's such a weird like joke. I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't know exactly what the hell it's about, but it always gives me weird vibes.
I agree.
Bisexual vibes. Unfortunately, it doesn't give me that. It gives me distinctly straight vibes.
Straight vibes. Very straight vibes.
So Juan has an interview now where he says that Colombian weddings are different. It's like a big party, almost like a carnival. And Juan says that his family is coming from Colombia and he doesn't know how to deal with the cold weather.
And the reason it's like even relevant that he's saying this is because the coordinator keeps talking about, okay, here's the wedding we're going to have outdoors. Yes, it's going to be freezing and snowing. We'll provide the guests with blankets. If it's a really heavy snowstorm, we can provide them with clear umbrellas. And I'm just like, why is this not indoors? Like, they later do say, like, if it's literally a blizzard, we can move it indoors. But I'm like, why is that the threshold? Like, this is another thing I struggle with American wedding culture is this thing of like inconveniencing your loved ones because you had a vision of how something will look. I'm like, why do you want the people you love to be like freezing cold and shivering?
Yeah, like on my wedding day, it unfortunately did rain and it was at like a garden. It was supposed to be very beautiful outdoors. And they called me day of. They're like, hey, you have to make the call. It wasn't what I planned, and so we did it indoors, but
it was beautiful.
I loved it. It was really beautiful. So, and I don't waste time being like, oh, but I really wanted it outdoors. It's like, yeah, I also ended up having a terrible cold on my wedding day. Whatever. I drank my NyQuil and I had an awesome day, and I didn't let it get me down.
And thank you that we didn't have to be in the rain. I mean, I could just speak forever about American wedding culture. I think it's so crazy, but it's just like this weird thing of like, it's my special day. It has to go exactly how I planned. And it's like not being realistic about like, okay, well, you specifically said you would not have planned a winter wedding. So let's adjust. Let's not just map the spring wedding you'd planned onto winter because it's different. I think everybody could imagine a better wedding than they had if they had a different budget or different circumstances. But you have to like, work with what you can do. So
exactly. In the moment, Juan says, quote, "It's just all American." And he says there's nothing wrong with the place, but he just doesn't see anything Colombian here. Jessica asks what he needs to make it more Colombian. And he says he wants to wear a guayaberas, which is like, he describes it as a thin white shirt. I've never heard of this, but I guess it's something you wear at a wedding. And because it's like so thin, he's like, yeah, but I guess that doesn't really make sense because it's going to be so cold. And Jessica in an interview says it's a little bit irritating that Juan is bringing up not being happy that there isn't enough Colombian aspects in the wedding since they've been planning it for 2 years. And she says that she would have loved to incorporate these things had he communicated it earlier. What do you think about that?
I feel really mixed about this because on one hand, I get what she's saying that like, you know, if it's annoying to be given feedback when it's basically too late. That being said, I am sort of feeling this energy of Jessica's wedding featuring Juan because I don't know. I think it's really standard if you're having like an intercultural marriage to think about what's your partner's cultural norms around weddings.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't imagine not considering that or like Googling it once.
Yes.
Or just asking your partner, hey, for the wedding, is there anything special that's like important to you from your culture?
I agree. It's complicated though, because I think we can't ignore the gender aspect of it, where it's like Jessica is American, but she's also the woman. And so, yes, there's the argument of, well, she should have been more aware of like, you know, being more proactive about how can we make sure that Juan feels included and like represented culturally in our wedding and everything. That said, why is that her responsibility when she's already doing the rest of the wedding planning? Like, does she have to think about everything? So I kind of, culturally, I feel bad for Juan.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I get Jessica.
I feel for both of them. That's why I think it's like, so I said I think it's complicated. Like, I also, I mean, I don't want to make everything gendered, but I feel like typically, at least in my lived experience, like women, when they plan things, they really think through like, what will this feel like and what will the steps be? And like, I think Juan was thinking about the wedding in very abstract terms, probably,
Yes.
or not at all. And then he sees the venue and he goes, oh, it's really American. And you would kind of wish that was something he could have identified just from being told the concept of the wedding. Mm-hmm. And he did say something too, which like I will sort of defend Jessica about, is that he did say something like, yeah, women care about weddings. Like, I'm a man, I don't really care. So if he's been telling her this whole time, like, I don't care, it is too late now to care.
Yes.
The one thing I thought was valid was him saying, I don't like that you're going to make my relatives sit in the cold who have never experienced cold before. That I thought was valid. I do agree with you that like so much labor is put on women, and obviously it's unfair how much like hidden labor women do. And also, I think they both could have thought this through better.
Agreed.
I think it's stupid that they're having the conversation now when it's too late.
I know.
I mean, that's not really helpful. I also, though, do sometimes wonder with weddings. And again, I'm not saying this is what happened because like I don't know the details, but in a situation where a woman is leading the wedding planning, if it's like a straight couple, I do find that there is sometimes this feeling where the woman doesn't even want her husband involved in the planning because she's like, it's my day. Mm-hmm. I've definitely seen this where they're like, it's my wedding, it's my perfect day, I want it done right. And like, you know, if you want something done right, do it yourself, you know? Yeah. And so I definitely have seen that. Like I've seen pretty few couples, straight couples, where the groom is like super involved in wedding planning. And I do, like, to some degree, it's like just the cultural expectations, but I also feel like to some degree it is a desire on the side of the women. Like, I want to be really involved. I want it to be planned to my standards. So I feel like without knowing the details of like why this was the way that it was, it's hard for me to like concretely say who's at fault. But the fact that this is happening now is not effective. It's not helpful.
I know. It's also, I'm just thinking about Juan has been home with no job, taking care of the children, which is obviously a very important and, in a sense, a full-time job, of course. However, he has been saying, oh, I'm just sitting at home doing nothing, which we've already gotten into. Like, I don't agree with that phrasing, but Juan, if you think you're doing nothing all day, why aren't you wedding planning? So in part 2 of their segment, Juan arrives at a gym, and I think there's 2 gyms in town, so it's one of them. We get a shot in the changing room of Juan changing his outfit, which felt a little weird and like invasive.
Well, invasive. Whoever is in charge of the gym shots on this show is genuinely creepy.
He's like unbuckling his pants, and then we cut away, and I'm like, okay, did you keep filming though? It was weird. And then he comes out into the gym, like from the changing room right after that, and I have to say, he's in such normal gym clothes compared to what Mahdi wore in that one episode where like his nips were out. It's just like so funny, you know? And like, I would say probably Colombia is a less conservative culture than Iran, and yet Juan is not dressed like a slut at the gym. Just Mahdi catching a stray, but just saying. Anyway, Herbie shows up at the gym. Herbie alert.
Big day for the Herbie heads out here because he
had a presence.
Yeah, it was his time to shine. Also, we finally got the confirmation that he is Megan's husband, which I'm sorry, that's a crazy relationship.
I want to see the two of them interact. I haven't seen it yet. Like, I'm so curious what this vibe is.
I mean, the fact that we've seen them in so many group settings, and I'm like, I wasn't sure who Herbie's husband was. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't even like
Herbie's
next to each other.
Was?
Oh, yeah, Herbie's wife was. I'm out here starting rumors.
Well, honestly, him and Juan had some chemistry.
I'm sorry. I think Herbie and Juan have better chemistry than Juan and Jessica.
And maybe Herbie and Megan.
Well, for sure. For sure, though.
And hey, maybe the chemistry isn't romantic. But like, honestly, it was nice that Juan has a friend. I was really happy to see this. So in an interview, Juan says that him and Herbie have gotten so much closer. Even though Juan thinks that Herbie's wife, Megan, is a little bit crazy, he thinks that Herbie is, quote, such a fun dude. And they like work out together, and that's how they've gotten to know each other, which is nice. And Herbie asks Juan if he's ready for the bachelor party. And it seems like Juan doesn't know what's going to happen. It's a surprise. And Herbie, in an interview...
Who's attending this bachelor party? Is it just the two of them?
I hope Megan's there. It's Megan, Herbie, and Juan. That's the whole party.
Oh my God. And the whole time Megan's going, how can I trust you?
This is how he'll prove it to her. She'll go on the bachelor trip, and if he doesn't do anything bad, it's all forgiven. Dude, what if we're joking about that and that's literally what happens? I'm kind of scared.
Well, we're kind of psychic, so it could be.
If we get this prediction right, like, we're genuine witches. I don't know. So
everyone pay us. We'll do hexes or something on Etsy.
I've got a particular target in mind. Trump.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about the show, and I have like 3 targets from the show. But...
You're like, this person. So Herbie in an interview says that they're going to Deadwood, South Dakota. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Deadwood.
I'm sorry. The way he's talking it up. He's saying it's like Las Vegas. I'm like, this is Mark level shit. This is, it's Santorini.
Honestly, I want them to do their bachelor party in Soaring Heights Aviation Community, New Hampshire.
There is a hot tub.
I would gag. Would die. Yeah, it's like a gambling party town. And he's like, it'll be how the cruise ship one was. It'll be so fun. And I'm like, wait, Herbie was on the cruise ship. I was just going to say, first of all, you were never on the cruise ship. Or do you remember Megan and her husband and Jessica went? Wait, so Herbie knows one. They know each other.
Herbie's genuinely important.
It goes all the way to the top. Oh my God.
I'm sorry for doubting you.
He's been here since the beginning.
I'm sorry, Herbie.
That actually like just clicked something into my brain.
That's crazy.
Whoa. Now we cut from the interview to back in the moment with the two of them in the gym. And Juan says he doesn't know what to gamble since he doesn't have any money because he can't work. And he laments to Herbie that there aren't really any bartending jobs around here, even if he could work. So he's not sure what he's going to do when he is allowed to work. And Herbie says there are a lot of jobs around here, but they're mainly agriculture and the work is not easy. Like you have to be out in sub-freezing temperatures and it doesn't sound very fun. A lot less fun than being a cruise ship bartender, I must say. And Juan says to Herbie that he wishes he could do another contract on the boat to save up more money. And I'm like, it's a little late. Didn't you already have the chance to be doing this? What do you mean? Save up money for what? You're already in the life that you would have been saving up money for.
I know. I think it's just to like feel useful. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of...
We get into it more. Herbie brings up that didn't Jessica say Juan can't do the cruise life anymore? And Juan says no, she didn't say he can't do it, but she said she doesn't want him to do it. And I do think there's a distinction there, but it doesn't really matter for this conversation. It's kind of funny that that's what Juan said, because I'm like, okay, it's not really like, Yes, objectively, like relationally, that's different. You don't want your partner telling you can't do something, but it's the same result. So who cares?
I know.
And Juan in an interview says that at the end of his last contract on the cruise, he went home, but he didn't tell them that he was quitting. And he says that he thought it was a smart idea to just leave the door open in case he couldn't find a good job here in America. And he hasn't told Jessica, but his old boss has been texting him asking if he could go back to his old job. He says that as soon as he gets his work permit, he wants to go back because he's miserable not having a job here. And I do understand that what he is saying is he wants to have a job, right? Like he wants to make money.
And specifically also a job he's passionate about, because he also talked about how, he really discovered his passion working on the cruise ship, which I get.
I don't want to burst Juan's bubble, but and look, I'm not a lawyer. I am 95% sure that, Juan, you're not allowed to work on a cruise ship as a green card holder in America, because you're not like allowed to be outside of the country for over like a certain number of months within a 1-year period and everything like that. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe you could work half the year, but that's not like a tenable job for you being an immigrant of this kind, as far as I understand.
Well, I guess maybe it depends if it's an American company. I don't know the rules, to be honest.
Lawyers weigh in.
Either way, I just feel like this speaks to their incompatibility. I know I keep saying this. I don't think they're compatible, but like I just don't think they want the same things in life. And like if they did not have a child, they would not be together.
100% that's true.
And it's just so unfortunate because I don't see a path forward for them that's good.
Yeah, because like Juan is not wrong to have a passion and that it's not compatible with the lifestyle that Jessica is living.
I just genuinely don't know what the path forward is for these two where one person isn't miserable.
I know. You do have to remember, though, don't forget that they got engaged before they knew that they were pregnant.
I know. I think it's stupid. I don't think they should have.
Okay.
I don't think they're compatible. I don't think. And the thing is, too, that Jessica is bound to this town because that's where her 2 older sons' dad lives. Even if you're just thinking about like the kids, like in theory, if it was just David, they could find a middle ground and move to a place that would work for both of them. But then that would mean uprooting these 2 kids from like, it's just complicated.
And legally, that might not be allowed.
I know.
And also, they're so young. It's not even like they're 15. They just have to be in the town for like 3 more years. It's like 10 more years.
Yeah. I don't see a way forward. I don't.
Maybe they could move to Denver.
But then again, like that's probably far enough that the boys have to go to a different school when they're with her,
Yeah, I don't know if fucking works.
It's complicated.
It is.
Anyway.
And just to wrap up this segment, Herbie tells Juan that he thinks that Jessica's going to be upset that Juan is even thinking about that. And I think he's absolutely right. I get Juan, but I'm like, Juan, you're either in it or you're not, to be honest. You have to acknowledge that if you want to be in your son's life and in Jessica's life, you have to give up your career on the cruise ship.
I just feel so bad for everyone involved. It's such a recipe for resentment and like...
At least he's trying to make a plan to like fix his situation. But as we said, like I just think that the circumstances are such that this isn't a good plan. And Juan, you have to become like a farmer or whatever you can do in this town, unfortunately.
I know.
Or a bartender who just makes not a lot of money.
We next go to Soaring Heights Aviation Community.
I'm so happy to be home.
We're back.
And not only are we home, but we're with the fucking Pats.
And you know what? The first thing I want to say in this segment, I'm so grateful to see that Maria got a high chair.
It was the first shot.
I'm so glad that got resolved because I was out here thinking they just did not buy the furniture. They just went on a trip to Florida. I was really happy for Maria that she doesn't have to sit in her stroller all day.
I bet he put in that Amazon order right as they're leaving for their trip. I'm like, bitch, you better... I hope they got a crib too. I need... producers, please, you set up these things at the beginning of the season. We need to close the loop, clearly. Does she have diapers? I hope at this point, yes.
Let us know what's happening.
It says 40 days to wed for context.
So the kind of plot here is that Mark is on a 5-day pilot job. And so Mina is alone in Soaring Heights with Maria.
Honestly, she's saying it like, yeah, I'm alone. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I would be so relieved to not have Mark around me all the time.
You're free, girl.
Finally.
So Mina takes the time to just or she uses this time to look at all the pictures in the house and just remove the pictures of Mark's ex.
Honestly,
which, you know what? Good for you at this point. Like,
And for the record, she's not like tearing them up. She's just taking them off the wall.
she's just removing, and she's going through the photo frames and like taking pictures out and like seeing which ones to keep or replace or whatever. I don't know if you experienced this. I experienced something really scary.
Wait, what?
There was a really old picture of Mark, and I was like, wait, young Mark was kind of good looking.
Sophie, what? I like didn't get a close up. Are you saying Mark is hot? Do you mind if I pull it up right now? I have to see it.
Please.
Because this is breaking news. Like the fact that Mark at any point was hot or like good looking.
I'm not saying like the hottest person ever,
Yeah.
but for someone who I find so repulsive at age 58, I was just like, kind of like, oh.
No, because that's crazy. So he has facial hair, so to me, not good looking, but he kind of looks like Brody Jenner.
I was gonna say Brody Jenner.
Our minds. He actually looks like him.
So that was just kind of heart-stopping for me to be like,
It feels like your world's turned upside down for sure.
I feel like I betrayed myself.
Well, that's like when I realized that Matt reminds me of my grandpa.
Well, I didn't know that happened for you.
I didn't know that was happening.
I didn't know that was happening. I do want to hold space for that, but anyway.
Yeah, we can't stay on hot young Mark, and we're processing what that means for us personally.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot right now, so.
Yeah, but we want to be transparent about that's what's going on, and that's just the reality of the situation.
So then there's like this thing, which I'm sorry, this is just dumb producer shit, which is when Mina's going through the pictures, she sees a picture of Mark with Kamala Harris, and she's like, who is this? Like, I need Mark to explain who this is.
Who's this woman he's with? Do you think she's for real? I mean, how do you know? I don't want to be like, everyone knows about the U.S., but girl, how do you not know who Kamala Harris is?
I don't think it's for real, and I think part of the reason I don't think it's for real is because it's in the stack of all the pictures of him with his famous clients. So
Right.
It's just someone he flew. Even if you don't know who it is, it's just someone who paid money to him to pilot a plane. Like,
It's also not like the two of them are like at the beach and Kamala Harris is like in a bathing suit sitting on his lap. Like,
they're like fully clothed plus wearing COVID
she's in a
masks.
suit. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this whole segment with this, bit with the photos ends. And it's revealed that Mina was invited to a stitch and bitch at Martini Pat's house.
Yeah, so we are recreating this expeditiously when you're here, yeah?
I would love to have a Martini Pat inspired stitch and bitch. And
I love it.
she like goes to the house, gets lost, calls Mark for help. Why does Mark use this opportunity to like speak very broken French to her?
I'd like give it up.
Like, it's not helping.
He's so funny. He'll just be like, oh, yes, I'm taking the avion to Ontario. And you're like,
I
okay.
know. He's like, it's 3 houses à gauche. And you're like, okay. That's not, like, whatever.
It's not actually helpful for her.
So a stitch and bitch, it's like a concept. I mean, they didn't invent it, but
They didn't? I thought they did.
no, it's an existing thing.
I didn't know.
So it's just basically like an event where you come together. Normally women do this and like do different fiber crafts. It can be crocheting, knitting, needle pointing, whatever. And there's also the bitch element. So you chit chat, complain, often drink wine. And that's basically it.
I love women. I felt patriotic for being a woman while I was watching this because I was just like, hell fucking yeah, we do. Men would never do shit like this. What they do is they drink beer together and then they punch each other in the head. Like, it's so not. Or they just drink together and don't have conversation. They just sit next to each other.
And they come home and they don't know a single thing about their friend. So the guest list at the Stitch and Bitch includes a friend, Dot, who's like also Pat's age, and then also Pat's daughter, Jennifer. I didn't catch any other names. They're like talking about the experience of like living in the community and whatever. And I think this was Pat who said this. I didn't actually attribute the quote. It says, all the men here are type A personalities because they're pilots. I was like, is Mark type A?
Mark is like the sloppiest type B person I've ever seen.
He's like type Z. He doesn't get anything done.
That was Dot, by the way.
Dot, you don't know what you're speaking about. Don't make generalizations. Mark is not like the other pilots. And so Mina is like finally in kind of a safe space to share her experience. So she's talking about how she's having a hard time.
They're really encouraging Mina, like, oh yeah, like this is the time to talk to each other. Jennifer says women have to come together and you have to be able to talk. You have to be able to bitch about things and you have to be able to complain. I love that finally Mina is in a space where There are women who care about her and who are really ready to hear what she has to talk about.
Agreed. And she also, like, asking her about her experience, and she says, like, how she struggled with the family and tells them about the whole prenup thing. And Jennifer is like, she's team Mina. She's like, that is bullshit. I mean, you love to see it. Then Mina is actually, this is the first time we've heard Mina speak about the prenup in kind of like a regulated way. So it's interesting to hear her actual thoughts. And she's basically said she's fine with signing it as long as Mark legally adopts her kids.
Very smart.
Smart and very fair.
Yes. It didn't occur to me that that wouldn't be something that automatically happens when you marry someone, which was obviously an oversight on my part. But I was like, oh, right, of course, that's its own legal thing. And obviously that would be a requirement. So I'm glad that she's putting that in.
So I was glad to hear that. Like, I don't think she's just like anti-prenup across the board. I think it was just the way things were done.
She said from the beginning, she's like, it's okay, but I just want to make sure I'm not getting fucked over here.
Which is so valid. And then at this point, like, Mina's just kind of talking about her experience and how it's so, like, tough and isolating and all the things she gave up to be here. Martini Pat starts crying.
I know.
Because she feels so bad for Mina.
It was really sweet.
I know.
It was a touching moment. I mean, clearly, like, this group of women really genuinely care about Mina.
I know. I'm so happy to see that she finally is making, like, good connections that aren't just Jade.
Mm-hmm. And Pat is like, you need to protect yourself because you have a daughter and you need to make sure that Mark will take care of her and your other children because he makes the money and you don't. And that's just the reality of the situation. And, these are not only women who are on Mina's side and giving her advice, but they're older women. So they know what they're talking about. And I don't know if these women had professional careers of their own, but Martini Pat has talked about how this is a community where the men are professional pilots who go off and work and the women stay at home in the woods.
My nightmare.
Yeah, no, literally. So I think most of these women have had to give up their careers for their husbands. So this is exactly the group of women who Mina should be talking to. So I'm really happy to see it.
I agree.
We'll have to see. But honestly, at this point, I really think that Mark and Mina are just going to get married. I think they're going to sign the prenup and I think they're going to get married. I think that's it.
And she's just going to live a life of suffering in aviation, whatever it's called, Soaring Heights.
Soaring Heights. But you know what? I might live there if Martini Pat's there. She's a hoot and a half.
Let's just show up at her door and be like, hey, we're fans.
I actually think she would welcome us with open arms.
I think so, too.
Next, we have Stevi and Mahdi, and we have 12 days to wed. But remember, doesn't mean that it's been 3 months. It's still been, like a month, maybe a month and a half, but 12 days to wed. We're picking back up from this situation where Stevi and Mahdi are in this fight where, like, Mahdi is very convinced that Stevi is bisexual and hiding it from him, and she said no to his face. And then, I don't know, they're still beefing about that, I guess. I'm
so over this fight, and I also don't see a way out for them to, like, stop having this fight.
Yeah, I'm like, I guess if that, which I don't agree with, but if that is a deal breaker for you,
then break up.
Yeah, what is this? What is this for then? Like, it's so stupid because Mahdi is basically just doesn't believe Stevi when she says she's not bisexual, but then won't accept when she says that. So it seems, Mahdi, that you have made up your mind about what the truth is, but you've also told Stevi, or at least you've told the camera, that if she is bisexual, you won't marry her. So it sounds like you just don't want to marry her if you won't believe her when she says she's not, which is theoretically the answer that you want.
I will say, though, she does always answer like this. No, I'm not, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not, okay? We're done. Like, but it's like, if that's a deal breaker, then let it be a deal breaker. But
I guess that's my thing is, Mahdi, you already have your answer. So what are you really looking for? More screen time, I guess. So Stevi right now is in the car driving, and she explains to the camera that she feels like she didn't do anything wrong, so it's hard to apologize in this situation. And she says that she went and grabbed Mahdi a smoothie with some protein in it, and she's hoping that they can at least try to talk about what happened yesterday and find some sort of common ground. I love the idea that a smoothie with protein in it is an olive branch.
I literally wrote that down. I said protein shake as an olive branch, LOL.
It's like a peace offering. And I love she specified like with protein in it because he's such a gym bro. It's so funny.
I know. Also, spoiler alert, I don't think it was an effective olive branch because he doesn't seem to be interacting with the smoothie at all the rest of the segment.
So we cut to at home. Mahdi is there and he is telling the camera that he feels betrayed by the nude painting situation. And he just wants her to be honest with him, but about whether she's bisexual or not. Again, I don't get this because they already had a direct confrontation about it and she said no. And what are you looking for? And he's worried that basically they'll get married And then maybe after that, she'll open up to him about being bisexual, and then he'll feel trapped in the situation. I mean, he doesn't phrase it like that, but basically that's what he's saying.
Well, he says trapped or set up. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Set up for what? Because also, the funny thing, like, obviously, I don't stand for the biphobia of it all, but it is funny because keeps phrasing it as if she's gay. Because I'm like, okay, well, if you find out that she's bisexual, it doesn't mean that she's not attracted to you.
Well, that's the thing. He's always like, what if I'm not enough and she wants something else? And I'm like, well, that can also happen if she's straight. Like, she just wants a different man. Like, that happens all the time.
Also, you're kind of a dud. So if she does think that, I'm not going to blame her. You're, like, literally so unfun. That's a very likely thing to happen. Okay, anyway, so then we have a Stevi interview, and she's like, even though Mahdi grew up in a conservative household, he's always been very open-minded. So she's really surprised that he's so hung up on this whole sexuality concept thing, she says. And she says that she loves women's bodies and paints portraits to celebrate them. If they were to call off the wedding over that, she says, I don't know if he's someone I would want to spend the rest of my life with either.
Yeah, because you're incompatible.
Yeah, I mean, what's there to say? This is not groundbreaking. It actually makes a lot of sense, and I wish you would actually stand behind that, and I just don't think you're going to. Anyway, so they meet up in the park to go for a walk. By the way, the park is just like a field next to like a highway. But anyway, it's not like an actual forest or like park, whatever. Hattiesburg, Mississippi, baby. So she gives him the protein shake, and they walk around while talking about this. And Stevi tells him she's sorry if she hurt his feelings, but it wasn't her intention. And Mahdi says that there's something he needs to know. And he asks Stevi if she knows what the question is. They're always like, they're just so like passive and like going around. They're never just direct. It's so weird. But they both are. They're very not compatible, but similar.
I know what you mean.
And Stevie's like, I know what you're going to ask me, but I think it's ridiculous that you'd even ask me that. And she says, I would like to think that the person I'm in a relationship with would just realize that I'm in a relationship with them, so it doesn't really matter whatever I preferred, whether that be men, women, right? I'm like, preferred.
I know, and I'm also like, Stevi, and I'm not defending Mahdi here, but I'm like, Stevi, you're succeeding in like just sowing so much doubt right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Truly.
I'm not invested in this topic at all, but even I, by now, I'm like, okay, see her bye.
I mean,
just from the way she's answering these things, you know? And like,
it's interesting that she seems so afraid of losing him because girly pop. And I think it's gross, but if a guy is so biphobic that that's a deal breaker for him, even if you're straight, you don't want to be with him, but he's narrow-minded. But especially if you are bisexual or attracted to women, whatever you identify as, why the fuck would you want to be with that guy?
No, but this is a bigger thing. It's like when people go, I don't want this person to know that I'm XYZ because they won't like me. And it's like, no, you need to find someone who likes you despite the fact or because of, what depending on the trait, that you are that. Like, you need to find someone who likes you as you are.
It's such a simple concept and people really struggle with it because it's also, that's not going to change, guys. And also, people will find out. You can't hide things forever.
Also, the way people are like, well, it's just that he's my perfect match, except, and I'm like, then he's not your perfect match.
Period.
Don't you think your perfect match wouldn't like make you feel bad about your sexuality?
At the very least.
Whatever. They're both, at this point, they're both playing into a really weird, useless loop.
Yes, absolutely. And then Mahdi's like, so you're not going to say yes or no? And Stevi says, I could say no, but if I say no, then you're just going to make assumptions anyway. And it's just going to be a continuous argument, so no.
So you are saying no.
So I guess we're going to have a continuous argument. And you know what? She was right, because we do continue on. And Mahdi is like, is that your final answer? And she says, yeah, so can you just leave me alone about it? It literally sounds like she's a petulant high school kid and her dad found her bong in her closet. Like the way that they're having a conversation, like, can you just leave me alone about it? It wasn't mine. I thought it was an iPhone charger or something. It's just like, what are you talking about?
When I see these two, I'm just like, where do we go from here?
Now, what are we even arguing about at this point?
Like, why are you even wasting my time being on my TV screen? Because what are we doing?
And the idea that these people are having a wedding in 12 days is so funny to me. Like, this is
insane.
So ridiculous. And you know
Insane.
what? I think they get married, which is the scariest part. I think it's going to happen. Anyway. And Stevi says she just doesn't want this to be brought up every time she's painting someone because it doesn't matter. I guess it does matter to him. And I don't agree with that being the right thing, but that's just the truth. You can't say it doesn't matter because it does to him.
And you can say it shouldn't matter.
Yes.
And break up
Yes.
That's my tip.
It's like, Mahdi, Stevi, the situation should be that, well, if the situation is that you being bisexual or not biphobic is a deal breaker for Mahdi, then that should be a deal breaker for you in turn. Like, I don't understand.
I know.
Whatever. So Mahdi asks her if he had some other sexual desires that he hasn't told her about that she would like to know. Like, wouldn't she like to know about them now rather than after the wedding? And Stevi says, Maddie, I just told you no. You're still talking to me and interrogating me. Okay, I'm tired of this conversation. So I think that Mahdi's opinion in the situation is stupid. Like, his opinion about bi people is idiotic. But at the same time, I do think that Stevi is being equally immature in the sense that at least Mahdi is trying to be direct about it. And he's saying, this is a deal breaker for me. Tell me before we get married.
And I don't understand why you would want to be with someone who's explicitly said something that is like central to who you are as a person as a deal breaker.
And just Mahdi says, I swear, if we could stay fiancé for like months, I swear I would have never insisted like this, like to move up the wedding date. And I'm like, okay, then push it back. Why did you? You actually do have the option to stay fiancé for months. Again, like the stakes of this relationship the whole Iran thing makes a lot of sense. But beyond that, nothing else that their conflict makes sense. And like the situation they're in is so preposterous. Whatever. I almost like don't care.
I know. I kind of checked out of this one because I'm just like, okay, let me know when you guys are done having this stupid fight that you're never going to get out of.
I know. If they do get married, though, I'm really excited to see the decor of the wedding. Like, where's the wedding bowl? Are there nude paintings on the walls? I need to know what's going on.
Really curious to see how the bowl gets incorporated.
Wait, I'd love it if she does a live painting of her own wedding. Like those tacky little live painting.
How is she going to do that?
And everyone's naked in it.
It's like from her perspective.
Yeah, literally. Now we end with Sean and Alliya. And Sean, for once, was not being like a complete sack of shit. I mean, he was being, of course, annoying, but it was toned down at least. So it's never going to sway me about who he is as a person. And like, I still think he can go to fucking hell. But at least it wasn't as directly aggravating as every other episode is with him.
I agree. He had some moments, but overall, it was not as bad.
So the wedding is in less than a month, which is awesome. And we open to them making Maxwell the dog a wedding outfit, which honestly, loved that. That was really cute.
Yeah, that I really do support.
And specifically, he's going to have two. He's going to have a ceremony outfit and a reception outfit. And I'm not going to hate on that. That's awesome. I can't wait to see how it looks. And Sean asks Alliya how she's feeling. And she says she's feeling excited and anxious at the same time. And Sean asks if she's not having second thoughts. And it's like, Sean, just say you are. Whatever. Why are you like trying to blame it on her? It's like always.
It's that thing where it's like, you're hungry, but you don't want to say it. So you're like, are you hungry? You know what I mean? It's like that.
Maybe do you want to go get an ice cream?
Did you want to do that? Oh, you did. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, he asks her this and she has a very long pause that Sean even remarks on. And she says no, she doesn't think she's doing the wrong thing, but there are some things that are not fully figured out yet. She says now that she's transitioning, it's been very hard and confusing, and she still has a lot of insecurities, and it affects their relationship. And Sean agrees. And Alliya says that she feels pressure because she wants to give Sean an amazing sex life, but at the same time, she's just trying to feel complete and be herself. And she feels to do that, she needs to make some changes, physical changes. And she tells Sean that she made an appointment with a doctor.
I just like, this kind of triggered the same thing we were talking about with Greg and Joan, of this whole thing of like her being like, you know, I want to like give him the amazing sex that he's owed in a way, you know? And I'm just like,
oh yeah,
I hate that that's on your plate at all. She's dealing with so much else right now. Like I hate that on top of everything, she's like struggling with wanting to provide for him sexually. I don't know. I didn't love that.
So Alliya tells Sean that she wants him to go with her to that appointment with the doctor. And he says that he thinks that's a good idea because he has some questions too and wants to hear answers together.
That grossed me out. I was like, what are your questions?
I hate this. It's just giving controlling.
Also the like not be like, oh, I'd love to go support you, or like I'd love to go help in some way, but it's like I'd love to go have my questions answered. There was also this quote, it's kind of a long quote, but from Sean in an interview. And I just thought a lot of the words in here were kind of interesting. He said, this was like after learning about the doctor's appointment. He said, I think Alliya's at a point in time where she's doing a lot of research about all of this and looking at the internet and learning more about all of the options. And she's not really talking to me about that. And that was probably one of my issues about the whole transitioning in the first place. She just kind of dropped the bomb. So I'm fearful one day she could come home and say, in 6 weeks, I'm getting some sort of surgery. There was a lot there that I found weird. Like, first of all, I don't know if this is his implication, but this idea that she's like, you know, doing internet research and like that's kind of, I don't know, informing her decision making as though that's like
Bad.
not a normal thing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like this idea of like she dropped the bomb, and it's just like he can't, even when he tries to be supportive, he tells on himself with the language he uses. You know, it's because honestly he was relatively kind in this episode, but even still he was talking about she's dropping this bomb on me and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's a weird, it's just weird language to use.
It's weirdly aggressive and resentful language specifically.
So there were a couple more things Sean said in this segment that were kind of alarming to me. So one of them was he said, I'm trying to roll with everything that's been going on, but there has to be some sort of limit to, you know, what I'm comfortable with. And I'm like, okay, you want her to have a penis. Just say that and then break up with her because she doesn't want that.
Right.
Like this language, also just this language of like, don't I also get a say? It's like, no, the say is that you can say, I don't want to be in this relationship. But no, you don't get a say in what someone else does with their body.
Period.
And then he also says, quote, even though I want to support Alliya and everything that she wants to do with her life, I think the marriage wouldn't survive that. Sorry, that's crazy that your marriage wouldn't survive the things your partner wants to do. Like, even if you take out the context of her being trans, that's a crazy thing to say.
Yes. He's an extremely controlling person.
So even though he was like on paper a little nicer this episode, he still said shit like that where I was like, okay, Sean, like you are who you are. Like,
exactly. He can't help but be a fucking like asshole all the time, even when he's genuinely trying to be nice. He just has the wrong opinion about stuff. I don't know how to say it any other way, but like he's just wrong.
He's just wrong. I know.
Yeah, objectively. And it's such a good point that it almost doesn't even matter that this is about her transition. Like that attitude would, or it's not specific to that for why it's bad. It's bad no matter what you're talking about.
It just goes to show like he has this belief that individuality needs to be suppressed for the sake of a relationship. And like, I don't agree with that.
And I doubt that he would feel that way about how he expresses himself.
He's
as an
not
individual.
willing to get rid of his Barbra Streisand decor.
Exactly. And also he has some very clear plastic surgery done. And it's like, oh, would you have to ask Alliya's permission if you wanted to tighten your face skin even more so you have an even more constantly shocked expression on your face? Probably not. Probably you'd think that that's your right. And it is. But you don't get to have a double standard about it.
Amen.
So we go to the next part of their section. On screen, it does say 24 days to wed for a reminder of the timeline, and that is chilling. It is way too soon. But they get to the doctor with both Sean and Alliya there, and Alliya explains that the doctor that she found works with the trans community a lot, so it's nice that she's going to a provider who is specialized in what she's looking for. It seems like a plastic surgeon, I believe.
Yes.
And Sean, again, it's just like every interview, Sean is saying some fuck shit. It's very similar to what he was saying before, but he says, Alliya contemplating surgical procedures. It is difficult for me because I think every move that she makes closer to Alliya, she's already Alliya, so shut up.
I know.
It's not like a persona she's putting on and she's like about to enter the final form of Alliya. She just already is. It's just whatever. So I hate this language. But every move that she makes closer to Alliya is a move further from the original relationship. And that sometimes feels hard for me. I just don't know how to express that this is the same relationship.
Here I just said all caps, shut up, break up.
And there's nothing more to say than that. Like, Sean, we say it every episode. If this is a deal breaker for you, that is okay, but you have to make the breakup.
You cannot be sitting here acting like you're a victim.
Yes, because in turn you're making Alliya feel like shit. Sorry, but like that's just the truth. You're not doing anyone a favor here.
I do want to say, shout out Dr. Nance Yuan. Love you. What a fabulous side character.
I loved her. So yeah, we meet the doctor. Dr. Yuan greets them in the waiting room and takes them back to the patient room. Is that what you call it?
Or like the I know the word.
Doctor room? The test chamber?
The laboratory.
It's going to be like something so annoying.
I'm Googling. Exam rooms.
Examination or exam?
Either.
I'm really learning a lot about English. Takes them back to the exam room, as we all know it is called.
That room.
For the record, like, it's not like I know the word for it in Korean and I'm just like direct translating it. I don't. I just forgot the word in English. So the doctor says to Alliya first that she wants to understand the big picture of Aliyah's transition journey and like the current status. She just wants to be caught up to date. And Alliya explains that at this point she wants to be able to look at herself in the mirror and basically feel adequately feminine. Sean says that he thinks that Alliya is beautiful as she is, but if this is what she wants to do, if this is what she needs to do to be 100% her, then he is here for it. Actions versus words.
That's not true. You're making this up.
Like, that in itself is like so slay and affirming, but I'm like, I know you're fucking lying. Or maybe you know that that's how you should feel, but it's not genuine to how you act every other time. It's like he can tell that the doctor is actually extremely affirming and transpositive and is like, yeah, whatever she needs to do to be 100% herself. It's like he's just saying the answer that he thinks the other person in the room wants to hear, I think.
I agree.
And Alliya says that she wants to get specifically breast implants and I think like shave down her brow bone. These are very common things that happen in like feminization procedures. And the doctor gives her like these different sizes of silicone implants to like hold up to her chest and feel and get used to. And like Sean kind of mocks this by being like, oh my God, how big do you want to get them? And like mimics like J-cup size boobs. And it's just like, Sean, shut up. Let Alliya have a moment.
I know. And then he says some dumb shit of like, I would definitely call myself a butt man. I haven't been a boob man for a while.
Yeah, we get it, Sean.
We know you're a gay. You don't like women. So break up with this woman.
But don't be mad at her for wanting to have breasts. Like, shut up. Anyway, so Alliya asks then about bottom surgery, which, side note, she says, oh, like gender reassignment surgery, is that what you call it? And the doctor goes, oh, bottom surgery. And normally, of course, I wouldn't care about that because Alliya, English is not her native language. That was a really commonly used term not that long ago. So this is not like problematic. But later in an interview, Sean called it gender reassignment surgery. I just wanted to note that. And that is an outdated term because
of course
gender and sex are totally different, you know. So just would like to say that Sean in her ear with this outdated language. It's not the most crazy thing to point out, but just saying. And the doctor explains about bottom surgery that I just thought this was interesting for people's knowledge, if anyone doesn't know. She explains that the method that would be used in the procedure is called penile inversion vaginoplasty, which is where they use the genital tissues that the patient already has to create female anatomy. And it just reminds me of like, dude, a couple years ago, I was going down a rabbit hole of like watching like animation on like YouTube of like how they do these various surgeries. And it just blows my mind what we can do technologically. If you ever want like a fun rabbit hole on YouTube, look up that stuff. It's crazy.
And then, of course, Sean, instead of having, you know, the interest that we have and wow, how amazing that science can do that, he's like, I'm just worried about the aesthetics. Will there be scars and stuff?
Sean, first of all, you're botched.
You want to talk about aesthetics?
Are there going to be scars on her genitals? Sit down. Like, it's actually aggravating me so bad. Like,
I know. Also, just might I add, I think it's actually kind of offensive to a surgeon to be like, are you going to leave fucked up scars?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. It's also like, I mean, sorry, I'm actually focused on like not killing the patient and like achieving the like primary purpose of the surgery. Like, oh yeah, sorry, there's a little bit of scar because we're actually cutting you the fuck open.
And might I add, this type of surgery, it's also really complicated because they like preserve nerve endings and stuff. Like, it's actually crazy complicated to be like, is there gonna be a scar?
Yeah, maybe. Sean, let's flip down your ear and see the scars from the facelift you definitely got 20 years ago. Yeah, I think you have some scars too.
He always comes up with the worst thing to say.
He has a way with words derogatory. He never knows what to say that's kind or correct in a situation.
And then thank God we had Angel on Earth, Dr. Yuan, who was like such a foil to Sean.
I love her.
She said, just remember, the surgery itself is not what's making you a woman. You're already a woman. Love to hear that.
And basically, Alliya says to Dr. Yuan that she just wants to make sure that she's doing the right thing. And Dr. Yuan reassures her that there's no one right answer. So whatever she decides is the right one for her.
God bless.
Thank you, doctor. We basically end this section with an interview from Sean, unfortunately, where he says, like, anytime there's something affirming on screen, the show has to undermine it with showing us some stupid shit that Sean said, because he goes, ultimately, I feel for a man, and I don't know how I'm going to feel once every nuance of that person that I fell in love with has been erased. So he just means her penis. That's all he means. That's all he means, because that's all he views her as, is a sex object, is a something for him to play with, and he doesn't care about her beyond that. He really doesn't. I think he knows that he should, so sometimes he tries to make up for it by being like, oh yeah, whatever you want to do. But anytime he actually talks about how he genuinely feels, he completely undermines that, and it's so clear that he just is an objectifying creep.
You said it. I mean...
Oh boy, I'm getting mean.
You know what? He deserves it. He totally deserves it. Thank you so much for joining us this week. That concludes episode 12. As always, we're so grateful that you're here with us, and we would love to see you and interact with you on our various social media platforms. We are on Instagram at MyBestViewPod, and also on TikTok at MyBestViewPod. Okay, that's a new update. We're unified across platforms.
We're leveling up, bitch. We're streamlined. It's just My Best View Pod, wherever you want us.
Within reason.
Please also give us a rating, preferably 5 stars, on whatever platform you're listening to us on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. And please send our show to a friend that you think would be interested. Feel free to post about it on any type of 90-day forum. We would be very grateful if you want to hook other people in as listeners. And, interact with us on that social media we listed. Give us a like, give us a comment, a follow, whatever. Would truly, truly appreciate it, because it just lets us do this longer, and we are really enjoying doing it. And have a great rest of your week. We love you guys.
Love that. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.